Hey everyone, Kaylee here. Today I wanted to go over some of the pulse rifles that I think are going to really show out with the mid-season patch coming to Destiny 2 next week. Pulses in general have felt bad outside of a few exceptions for a pretty long time, so I'm personally excited that one of my favorite weapon types is getting some love. Remember, if you liked the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. Keep in mind also that this list is entirely my opinion and not reflective of every single pulse rifle that will be good, just the ones that stand out to me personally. This list also isn't in any particular order, since a lot of these pulses can be used in a lot of different builds and scenarios. If you're excited about another pulse that isn't on this list, please let me know about it in the comment section below so I can check it out once the update drops. With that being said, thank you guys for being here, and let's get on to the list. To open things up, I wanted to talk about Outbreak Perfected. Overall, Outbreak is just a solid option for pretty much any PvE content if you really want to clear ads and deal good damage to bosses and majors. My major issue with most exotic primaries in the game is their very apparent lack of damage to anything that isn't a red bar minor enemy. Outbreak doesn't have this problem for the most part and can hold its own in most content in the game, even despite the weakness of pulse rifles in the overall PvE sandbox. I actually have been using Outbreak in GMs, and it's easily my favorite option for handling barrier champions this season. I think that the 20% buff will do wonders for Outbreak and throw it back into the spotlight as a premier option for most PvE content. I'm a little biased since this has been one of my favorite weapons in the entire game, even being among my top 3 used exotics before Witch Queen. With the buff, I suspect that Outbreak will enter my top slot very quickly. Next up is Battle Scar. This 450 RPM lightweight pulse rifle came onto the scene this season from out of nowhere, dropping in the world loot pool. With perks like Shoot to Loot, Keep Away, and Perpetual Motion in the third column, and Kinetic Tremors and Osmosis in the final column, you have a weapon that can dish out some serious damage already. A roll of Shoot to Loot and Kinetic Tremors is already a GM-ready option, and adding 20% to its damage will just make it even better going into GMs and other endgame PvE content. Now, let's talk about the BXR Battler. The BXR Battler is an interesting and unique solar pulse you can get from Xur's loot chest using treasure keys, and is one of the more fun and nostalgic weapons Bungie have given to us. With the perk refresh and ability to craft the Battler added a few seasons ago, seeing a perk combination like Demolitionist and Incandescent made me really excited to include it into a variety of solar builds. With the damage buff, you'll be able to proc both Demo and Incandescent much easier than before, and will give you even easier synergy with your solar builds. Another interesting option is Disparity. This stasis aggressive frame is easily one of the best legendary pulse rifles all across the board right now, if not the best. It's a very popular option in PvP already, while also rolling with some very interesting perks in PvE like Outlaw and Headstone. If you don't like playing into Headstone, there are also options like Rapid Hit or Pugilist in the third column, and Frenzy, One for All, and Desperado in the last column, if those are more your speed. I think Disparity is great already, especially being one of the 4 burst pulses that always seem to be popular, and it's only going to get better in the coming weeks. Moving on, the Ogma PR6 is a solar 450 RPM lightweight pulse that rolls with a lot of really solid perk options. Combinations like Demo Adrenaline Junkie, Demo Wellspring, Adaptive Munitions Disruption Break for barrier champions, and Stats for All, One for All for general use. The versatility of this weapon isn't matched by many weapons, and if you have a good roll of this weapon, I would highly recommend that you hang on to it and give it a shot once the mid-season patch rolls around. The only downside to this weapon up until this point is that it felt very difficult to get kills with it in anything more difficult than a Vanguard op or regular campaign mission, so with the mid-season patch, the extra 20% should really help it reach its full potential. If you're a fan of arc pulses, the Insidious is a really amazing arc 4-burst pulse. You get this weapon from the Vow of the Disciple raid, and it comes with a lot of perks to like, and there are very few rolls of this weapon that are going to be genuinely bad. In the third column, you have Rapid Hit, Demo, Stats for All, and Dragonfly, which means 4 of the perks in this column are top tier perks depending on what you use the gun for. The final column has Rampage, Adrenaline Junkie, Vorpal, One for All, and Adaptive Munitions. And with combos like Rapid Hit and Vorpal, or Adaptive Munitions for champions, or One for All and Stats for All for an absolute ad slaying machine, to Demo and Adrenaline Junkie for grenade-focused arc builds. This weapon truly has something for everyone. If you're able to get any of these rolls or are able to craft Insidious, I think you've got a great weapon that's about to become much, much stronger. Next up, the Smite of Moraine is a 390 RPM adaptive frame kinetic pulse from the King's Fall raid. On top of being a kinetic and getting the 10% extra damage, Smite can also roll with a lot of solid perk options. It's different enough from Battle Scar that I would honestly recommend having one of each, since they each have completely different roles as kinetic pulses. And the third column you have options like Stats for All, Focused Fury, Demo, and Pugilist, and in the final column you have One for All, Vorpal, Firefly, Adrenaline Junkie, and Swashbuckler. If you're really keen on an ability focused build while using a kinetic, this is definitely a top tier choice, being able to roll with both Demolitionist, Adrenaline Junkie, and Pugilist Swashbuckler. For general use, Stats for All, One for All is a very good choice, and Focus Fury Vorpal is incredible for champions and tankier enemies. If you want to fit Firefly in with any of those perks, that works too. Just keep an eye out for Smite. All it needed was a little bit more damage to be truly top tier. Now let's talk about Revision Zero. When this weapon came out, I was incredibly excited just looking at the catalyst and different ways to set this gun up, and I personally still really like it, but still have an issue with the amount of damage that it's currently doing. It feels like against anything tougher than a red bar, it's seriously underperforming, even compared to legendary pulses. But with the changes coming to Revision Zero with the midseason patch, I truly believe that this is going to be among the top choices for dealing with barrier champions, even competing with Arbalist and Wishender. Honestly, despite that, I kind of only see one perk set that I really like for PvE, and that would be Vorpal and the 4 times the Charm refit catalyst. I have mine set up with the 4 burst mode, small bore, ricochet rounds, Vorpal, hand laid stock, and 4 times the Charm, and it's okay for handling champions right now, but I really think once the midseason patch hits next week, that Revision Zero is going to be a super solid option for endgame PvE. I'll definitely take a closer look at it once the update hits and compare it with other pulses and barrier options, but for now we'll just have to wait and see. If you're a fan of Void at all, Collective Obligation is a super solid option when paired with Void 3.0, and it really doesn't need a ton of help to be really strong. As long as you're using Void debuffs and buffs consistently, you'll be in really solid shape. I honestly don't have much to say about it since it is just going to be amazing with the buff. I don't think that there's a better option for synergizing with Void 3.0, and when the midseason patch hits, I would expect a lot more people that own this will be running it with their Void loadouts. If you want Void synergy without sacrificing your exotic slot, then veles-x is for you. Outside of maybe yesteryear, there aren't a lot of good legendary Void pulses right now, and getting a guaranteed Repulsor Brace and Golden Tricorn roll is very nice. Repulsor Brace combined with any of the Void debuffs from before will help you maintain a Void Overshield while also feeding into activating Golden Tricorn. Again, these are all just the pulses that stood out to me, and there definitely were some good ones that I left off, Graviton Lance being one of them. I still think Outbreak is going to be top dog, but that could just be my personal bias showing itself, as Outbreak is one of my favorite guns in the game. I could see Revision Zero taking that too, but I'm just going to be on my Outbreak copium anyways. I hope you all enjoyed watching today's video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to see more content like this from me in the future. My name is KaylieTheLazy, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves.